Welcome to Back to School Night. Thank you very much for taking time to watch this video. I hope that it gives you a nice overview of what's going on for this year in APUS history. Usually students refer to it as APUSH, so if you hear people at the dinner table talking about something called APUSH, it's my course. I'm going to run you through a presentation that will give you an overview of the course, a little bit about me, and some expectations. So just to first start off, my name is Mark Lifland. You can email me at mark.lifland@sbschools.org. That's listed right there. You can see it in the presentation. I went to University of Maryland for a bachelor's degree in social studies. Believe it or not, that's actually a degree. And then after that, having spent a lot of time teaching American government, I started to grow an interest and passion for the Constitution. I got a fellowship, the James Madison Fellowship, which paid for my graduate degree and also gave me the opportunity to go to Georgetown for a semester in the summer with 50 educators throughout the country. So I'm really proud of that time there. Maybe some of the best professional development I have ever gotten was the James Madison Fellowship. Currently, I am an ed tech coach. So what that means is that I help teachers integrate technology into the classroom. And I've been doing that for a number of years and excited for all of the things that we're going to learn this year in particular. This is my 18th year at the high school. I have spent all of my teaching career at South Brunswick High School, so I know the ins and outs of the entire place very well. I'm also the mock trial coach, so if you have students that are interested in that, they can come and seek me out. We are going to compete this year. It's going to be online. So if students need to access me, the school has created a schedule for the virtual distance learning part of this year, and they have created office hours. So my office hours are 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. If students email me, we can meet. I've actually used almost all of my office hours so far, and it's been really productive. I have gone over things like how to take notes properly. So it's a great use of our time. I take notes, they take notes on something, we compare, we talk about it. That's really been one of my favorite things that I have done. Also, we can go over other things as well, like tips and tricks about the LEQ, which is the long essay question, and all kinds of things that will come up for the AP. This is a slide that I took from a presentation that I did with students, and I just wanted you to see all of the different resources that are available. I am utilizing Google Classroom, and in a moment, I'll walk you through just so you could see what Google Classroom looks like if you've never seen it before. They have in Google Classroom this exact slide. So it has the course schedule. We move at a pretty fast pace, and this is available and sometimes gets updated based on what is going on at that particular moment. Sometimes there's things that need to be shifted around, and I make it reflected here. They also have access to the rubrics for the course. This is, a very different kind of essay writing than they've probably done before. There are a lot of unique elements to the exam that they've probably never done anything like it. I think every part of the exam, except for maybe the short answer, is something that they have to really learn how to do technically. And we spent a lot of time talking about how to master some of those skills. Just to give you a brief overview, there is a document-based question where they get 7 documents and they have to incorporate that into an essay. They get what's called an LEQ, a long essay question, and that is just a prompt, an essay prompt. But there are unique parts of that rubric that you can see right here. And then they also have a short answer question. And the short answer question is a stimulus of some kind, like a primary source, a secondary source, and they get 3 follow-up questions they have to answer. And then finally, there is multiple choice. Multiple choice has a stimulus, just like the other parts of the test, and they have to respond to 4 questions based on that and use their understanding of history to apply it. You don't necessarily need to know the ins and outs of those things, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview just so you can understand that this is a course where they'll have to use a lot of understanding of documents to understand the topic. They also have to have a deep understanding of the content as well. A big part that will lead to their success is the quality and time that they put into taking notes. This is a course that many parents have said in the past that they see their students really spending a lot of time studying, reading, taking notes. That's very, very typical. I want you to understand that that's very, very typical. The exam itself is 3 hours and 15 minutes, and it takes up a significant amount of time to kind of go through that material. I give them lots of tips and tricks. As you can see here, I have my favorite review book, which is the AMSCO book. And if they click on this, it will take them to a PDF. After talking to many AP US history teachers on Facebook and a group that we belong to with thousands of other teachers, they always recommend this one. I also have the answers here as well. So there's multiple choice. I think it's quite good. So if you're asking what's a good review book, which is a question I often get from parents, this is the best. This is a writing guide that will help them with coming up with good thesis statements. I think that's really what's best about this one. This is some DBQ tips, the LEQ structure that I suggest. This is a website that is put out by a teacher who actually takes our textbook that we use and does videos, and then also does lots of other videos on tips and tricks when it comes to writing the LEQ, writing the short answer question, writing the document-based question. These are my class guidelines. And then the College Board is putting out videos, albeit delayed behind almost every teacher in the country. But when it comes time for review in the spring, this would be a great place to go. So that's all that. I'd like to also take you to our Google Classroom so you can see, and I'll just pick one of the Google Classrooms. When students go into Google Classroom, they'll see all of their courses here. I put the times just because it's easier. This is the stream where whatever is announced at that, like the most recent thing is right there. This is classwork. This is put into categories so they can find things by categories. I have things by period, things that are topical like AP test. There's some information that I posted there that comes out from administration, general course information. The thing is that I have turned on parent guardian summaries, but the summaries that you get aren't like you being in the Google Classroom. So what you'll get is a weekly summary if you've opted into parent guardian summaries. It's not going to give you like the ability to click on assignment or see specifically what your students are handing in, but it's a nice summary. The idea here is, especially at the high school, that the students should be able to be autonomous and do most of the work on their own. But if you wanted to get a peek into it, they give you a peek, but not a full look at everything that's going on in classroom. For that, if you feel like you need to do that, you would have to talk to your student, and they can give you, to your children, they can give you more access, potentially. But generally, AP US History students tend to be fairly good students. The problem always lies in that this course is difficult at first, and that has nothing to do with their good, like being a good student. It's just that it's hard at first. Like they're integrating a lot of new skills. So just to kind of give you an overview of the way that the course will be graded, we use the total points system. It's not a percentage. So every marking period, I will give out 3 quizzes. I drop the lowest. The idea behind that is that students need to have ability to learn as they go. There are about 2 to 3 tests. It depends on how the marking period shakes out. Usually more likely on the side of 3 than on the side of 2. We have 1 project per quarter. There is class participation, and there might be some homework. Basically, I don't think there really is any homework other than reading the textbook. That's really important, and preparing for a test or maybe doing that project. But there's not actually a lot of homework that, like I say, like read this thing and answer questions. That just doesn't really happen. It might be that because we're only meeting for an hour and 10 minutes that I might have some things that I need them to do. outside of class, but generally speaking, it's just really reading and taking notes. That's mostly what the homework is. I'm just put it there because I might need to do some things that if I don't do them, I won't be able to get through the material. Students do quite well. It's, if they're not doing well in the very beginning, everyone kind of runs through that in this course over the many years that I've taught it, but eventually it works out. Excuse me. One thing that I'd like for you to just take a look at is that we do very well when it comes to the AP test. It's scored out of 5 if you do not know. 5 is the gold standard. 1 is not as good, going in that direction. So SBHS, like 1 year, I had 40 students that fell into the category of getting 50%. 50% of my students got a 5. Then 33.33 got a 4. 13.9% got a 3. Then in a 2, only 2 people got it, and it was 2.8% of the total. And then no one got a 1 that year. So it kind of tells you that we are basically flipped. We do far better than the global average, as you can see there. So back to school night, just a couple of things I want to close out with. What can you do to help your students at home? I had that little thinking man. The idea here is to help your students think critically about the news, talk about the news, talk about what's going on in current events, think critically about it, and ask questions about what's going on in class. What are they discussing right now? What's interesting to them? If you could kind of incorporate it in that way. We know that learning is social. That's one of the biggest parts that we really are pretty clear on when it comes to learning. So because learning is social and we are in remote, I'm trying to increase opportunities to make it so students can interact and talk about what's going on. But I also need you to do that as well if you can. So thank you very much. My contact information is there, and hope you enjoy the rest of your back to school night.